Hey guys, we got a 355 here. The lower end's good. I know the guy that built the lower end. Not even going to question it. He did it, assembled it, gave it back to the owner. The owner put a cam in it and heads on it, the intake, top end himself. Not really the right cam. I guess it's kind of like a circle track cam. The heads, I don't know, he got talked into buying these cast iron heads, I don't know. Has to run on pump gas. Don't know much, race gas. He wants it to run on pump gas. Other than that, I don't know a whole lot about it. It's 400 horse, but it's kind of high up in the RPM scale, like 3,500, and we need it down more on a streetable range. So we're going to tear the top end off, take the cam out. Like I said, it's probably going to get a set of aluminum heads and a comp cam hydraulic roller. Don't know if it's going to get dynoed. Not a whole lot of money here to play with. I might dyno it out of my own pocket. I don't know. But anyway, we'll be back if I find anything. The only I have noticed is a lot of condensation in this fucking motor. I don't know if you drain the oil out, but it looks like there's water mixing in it, so I kind of question a few things, but we'll find out. Okay, guys. Now, a little information on this. These heads, this motor used to have aluminum heads on it. And this guy talked to some big fancy fucking engine builder that, I don't know. No comment there. But anyway, he said those aluminum heads are junk, and what you want are these heads that I have. They're cast iron, blah, blah, blah. Somebody bumped their head, but anyway, the owner of the heads told this kid that these heads are ported to the max, and blah blah blah. They're the best thing since fucking pussy. Now, as you can see, maybe you can still see the casting line in the fucking ports. Oh, you can see it right there. They're not even gasket matched. He went in, smoothed them out a little bit, and that was it. The exhaust ports barely even touched. So, fuck else I doing? So yeah, the retainer's a little small for the springs. So that's what jumps out at me, the first thing I notice. So, I'm going to get rid of the rockers and pull the heads. Hey guys, we're here with this 355. We've had a change of plans. It is going to be turned into a 3.3, 11-to-1. And the problem is with a 355, with a 350 stroke, by design, it's not made for torque. You know what I mean? You have to cam it for torque, versus where a stroker, with the increased stroke, it will make fucking torque. I just lost the thing in my... So, in a nutshell, I could have got this motor with 64cc heads cut. I could have got this motor to probably 10 to 1. And with the right cam, like say mid 270s extreme energy cam, it would help make this motor make torque. And with the 411 gears that the car has, it would probably be pretty good. It'd definitely help a lot better than what he's got now. But he decided to go with a stroker. So we're going to make 11 to 1 stroker. And the cam, instead of being in like the 270 area, it's going to be in the 280 area, which is leaning more towards a horsepower cam versus a torque cam. Because right away, with a stroke, we're going to make torque. With this 411 gears, we don't really need to make torque. It's going to get forged pistons because that's what's in it now, and they're clear. You know, this cylinder's clearance for forged pistons. Where normally for a street strip, I would use a hypertectic, which takes a tighter wall clearance than the forged. So right now, if I was to drop a hypertectic in here, it'd fit loose. I just wanted to show you the bore. This is This was done like 3 years ago. It hasn't had much use. But if you watch this dial, when I slide this down the bore, what you're looking for is it not to change. If it changes, that means you're going to have a tapered bore. And as you see, it doesn't change. So the cylinders are nice. So it's going to stay 30 over. We're going to get a scat forged crank, H-beam rods, forged pistons. So basically the block's going to get cleaned, clearance for the stroker, assembled, extreme energy cam probably in like the 2 mid 80 area, like a 284 hydraulic roller. Might even go a little bit more where he's got the 411 gears. Heads I'm still up in the air with right now. I haven't actually picked a head, but it's going to be at least a 200cc intake runner. 64cc combustion chamber, which will give me 11 to 1. That's about it. I'm going to have the block line honed. Probably going to do ARP bolts or studs, because it's got stock bolts in it now. So I'm probably going to do ARPs, do a line hone, notch it, clean it, and the block is done. Very minimal block work. Anyway, we'll be back. Hey guys, you got the rings and bearings for this 355. And I moved it in a different room, hoping for more light, but I see better, but well, this camera doesn't pick it up all that great. But anyway, block, as stated in previous video, it's back from the machine shop. It's been all cleaned. All the heads have been chased. I mean, the threads. Been etched prime. It's been painted. I've got the rings and bearings, so now it's time to put it together. Okay, we're doing the one that was a 355 that turned into a 33. I brought it in here hoping the light would be a little bit better, but I don't know, it's really not spectacular. Oh, mess on the floor. Anyway, how you see I got the crank in. I mean, it's straightforward. Take it out of the fucking package. Blow brake cleaner through all your oil passages, followed by compressed air. Bearings in the block. Grease them. Lay the crank in. Bearings in the caps. Grease them. Put them in. Torque it down to the ARP specs or the bolt specs, whatever you're using. If you're stock bolts, just follow Chilton's or Google it. I'm going on to the rods and pistons and shit right now. And as I mentioned before, I didn't have the machinist hanging rods. They're just, they're a floating rod. And I want to walk you guys through that. Not going to do them all with you. I'm just going to do one, so you can see how to do it, what to look for, what not. Okay, first things first. You can inspect all your parts. You know, the pistons out. They are Malley pistons. They're forged. They're lightweight. You're going to orientate them to the cylinder holes. Now, if you notice, the valve notches in these are all the same size. They're a non-directional piston, which means there's no arrow or no notch that points to the front. It's not an offset pin. It doesn't matter which hole it goes in, as long as your valve notches are up. You know what I mean? They're both the same size. They're not cut for an intake or an exhaust. It doesn't matter. So, mark the pistons in the holes you want them at. These have a lock ring instead of the spiral locks. I'd rather have spiral locks. They're easier to deal with. But, no matter. So, next step, make sure the pinholes are clean. Your pins are clean. I have to set the fucking tripod up. But anyway, what you want is your pins to slide through. No resistance. And once you get it in, you want to spin it. And you want to feel no resistance at all. If you feel a little spot that's kind of tight, take it into a machine shop, have them resize the hole that's in the piston. And the same with the rod. That pin wants to slide through the rod. And it wants to spin freely with no resistance. If you feel anything, like a little slight tight spot, where when you're spinning that pin it feels like it wants to slow down just a little bit, take the rod in and have it resized. Okay, the first thing you want to do is put your clip in on one side of your piston. Then you're going to put your rod in and your pin through the other clip. Now, I wish there was some voodoo secret to these fucking clips, but there's not. They are just a pain in the ass. You're probably going to stab your finger a couple times. If you're scared of that or some blood, pass this on to somebody else. There's no easy way to put them in. They are what they are. That's why I do like the spiral locks better. They're easier to deal with. And I think they probably work better. Okay, now this piston's going to be number 2. Now once you get the pistons all marked in the hole you want them in, the next step is your rods. Now if you notice, well, hopefully you can see good enough, the position of the hole versus the crankshaft. They're not centered, they're off a little bit. And the position of the holes are off. Those don't line up with each other. They can't because the rods have to run side by side. Now if you notice on your rods, you get a side that's pretty flat, then you get a side that's got a good sized chamfer on it. That chamfer, that has to go towards the crankshaft, not your other connecting rod. You follow along? So when you slide this in the hole, see your chamfer's here? That's going to go in the hole, and that chamfer is going to face the crankshaft. So this would be the correct position. Flat side against the other rod. If you put it like that, it's going to be wrong. And the reason being that chamfer is going to be facing the other rod, and what's going to happen is the fillet on the crank is going to ride right here and get really fucking hot. So remember, chamfer towards crankshaft. Flat side against rod. So this would be number 2 rod facing crank. So that would want to get hung on the rod, on the piston, just like that. So when you put it in, with the valve relief up, that chamfer will go against the crank, and you're done. Okay, I got one installed. Now, it's just a matter of some light lube. I use this, or the gear oil, because it stays in place. That's not blood. Not that I give a shit if it was. But yeah, that's all there is to it. Make sure they're clean, they don't bind. Get your clips in, your pin in, rod, the other clip. Make sure you lube everything. Now, that one's good to go. File fit rings, put them on, put it in. Hey guys, I am back on the 3D3 with the Pro Max heads. I'm clearancing the cam thrust button, and for a roller cam, you need a thrust button because the lifter doesn't hold the cam back. And always remember that the oil pump's pushing the cam forward. The flat type of hydraulic, or a solid, the lobes aren't actually flat, they're a little tapered. So under spring pressure, that's actually pushing the cam back for you, but on a roller cam, the lobes are flat, it can walk forward. That's why you need the thrust button there to stop it. This rubs against the timing cover. I got the push rods in. They ended up being a 745 off the shelf. It measures out to a 744, which would have been a custom length push rod. So I went to 745, and you're only talking 5 thousandths. Anyway, if you look at this, you can see I ground the front down. I ground the back down till I hit the actual post in the middle. Then I had to take some off the front a little bit to give you my clearance for my timing cover. And I measured without a gasket, so once I add the gasket, which is another, I don't know, 10 thousandths, 15 thousandths, that gives me what I want. And I don't know if you can see it, but I actually had it grounding. They had the bolts down a little bit. They're not around the edges, are tapered. Hey guys, I almost fucked up and got ahead of you. I'm swapping intakes from the Performer RPM to this Wian. And the reason I'm doing that is runner size, more horsepower. This motor's going to make a lot of torque, so using a single plane's not really going to hurt it, especially the small single plane versus like say a Victor. But anyway, this intake's been run. So you can see where the old gasket was up here and how much the port hung into the heads. That's staying from reversion. So you can see how much actually has to be removed. See, I've already got the other ones done. But that's what's cool about using the used intake. Instead of having to fucking paint it, scratch it around the gasket, you can see the old stains. So cut it to that mark, you're good to go. But the main reason I have nothing against the RPM intake. It's a fucking really good intake, but it's more for the streets. Now these gaskets fit the heads perfect. Now you can look, see how much material you'd have to take away to make this gasket fit this intake. And there's just nothing left of the intake at that point. So I really can't work this intake enough. And like I said, I kind of want to try to sacrifice a little bottom end for a little bit of top end. That's why I'm going with a small single plane. I mean, this is nothing really voodoo-y. But what I do is where your marks are, at extreme angle, go right to your mark. So you'll mount it to your mark. Then come in and work the intake down to your where you've already cut where your marks are. Like see, I've went in at an angle here and mouthed this one. Now I've got all this material here to remove to bring it out to that mark. So I'm going to open this port up. And if you could feel it, there's a big lip here anyway. But when it's done, this is basically what I'm going to have. Versus that. Then I'm going to come up, work the top. And kind of trim this center divider down a little bit. Then cut the tops away of the ports that allow the fuel in there to turn in better and quicker. And I'm not going to smoothen it out. I'm going to leave it just as that cutter leaves it. You know, it's a little texture there to help keep the fuel and air atomized. Yeah, that's about it. I just put the oil pan on the motor. There's no frills there. Set it in place with a couple bolts. Crank the motor over. Make sure you got no interference. Because some of these strokers, you actually need to notch the pan or buy a clearance pan. This one's good to go. Yeah, I guess that's it. Now I'll finish this up. Then I gotta clean the nasty thing up so it looks good. Then put it on.